Hello, I'm in Adobe Premiere and gonna do some editing of my animation in Premiere. So I have some scenes on my timeline here, pretty much my movie. Just before I get into audio, which is what I'm going to be spending the most time on, just wanted to show you a couple things that are sometimes useful when you're editing your video in Premiere. One of those things is the rate stretch tool, which you can find under this one, the rate stretch, although I just used the letter R to bring it up. So let's say that this first scene, I need to adjust the timing. I want to speed it up a little bit. If I press R on the keyboard, and then I go to the end of it, see how the cursor changes when I'm right over it, I can just stretch it this way, and that speeds it up to make it last for a shorter time on the timeline. If I have a gap like this, I can always right click or control click on a Mac to ripple delete to bring everything to the right of that in line with the end of that clip. Another way to adjust the speed is to right click on the PC or control click on the Mac and look for speed duration in all the context sensitive things that come up when you're on a clip. So you can see that right now the speed of that clip is 128. I did some adjustment on it, so I can further adjust that. I can always also adjust the duration time if I want it to go even faster or slower. I can adjust that. You can also reverse speed if you want to reverse a shot. This is a quick way to do it here. Okay, and then basically that is reflected in your shot, the changes that you make there. So sometimes once you get stuff in here, you'll want to adjust the speed of it. Another useful tool is the razor tool. If you want to adjust the speed of just a part of it, you can do that. I'm going to use the R for the rate tool. So I want to just speed up this first part. I can just do that just by dragging that like that, getting the regular selection tool, and I'll just ripple delete. So I have my timeline now the way I want it. So I want to add some audio to it. So first thing is I have some dialogue, my robot character speaking. So I'm just going to go over here, and I have the dialogue as a file. I'm just going to drag it into place onto one of my audio tracks. So I have my video tracks up above this line, the audio tracks down below. And I might want to play it just to see how well it synchronizes.
Hello, friend.
Synchronizes pretty well. I got kind of right at the beginning, but if you need to adjust it just a little bit, what I find is it's nice to zoom in. I can zoom in here. If I want to move it back or forward just a few frames, now when I just scroll this back and forth, I'm moving the timeline back and forth just a little bit. I moved it a frame, and I can move it forward a frame if I want to adjust the start of it. So, and often with dialogue, it often works best if the mouth opens a little bit before the sound comes. So maybe I'll just move it back a couple frames here and try that.
Hello, friend.
Okay, so that seems to work, and then I can always zoom out to get more of my timeline. Okay. If I need to adjust the audio level of that, I could always double click the clip and it opens up here to effect controls. I have volume, I can do that and just adjust it there. But another thing I like to do is just adjust it right down here in the timeline. If I go to my A1 and just this little line in between my audio channels, if I just drag this down so I can see a little bit more of this, now I have the volume line here. Notice when I put the playhead or the position tool kind of right in the middle, it changes color, and that allows me to turn that volume up and down just by clicking and dragging on it. So I can get the
Hello, friend.
I can bring it up a little bit more, and what I'm doing is I'm going to watch my VU meter.
Hello, friend.
So I want it strong, but I don't want it getting definitely not in the red or not even in the top part of the yellow.
Hello, friend.
Okay, so that's good. Now I have a whole folder of sound effects, and these are just sounds that I recorded. So like when my robot clicks the radio to turn it on, I got to click. I'm going to double click this to open it up here. I got some clicks. Maybe I'm going to get this one. Now when I find where I want this sound to begin, I can hit the I on the keyboard to set an in point. Just move it over here, set the O to set an out point. And then I can use this, the drag audio, this button to just drag it into place. And let's see if it works. Okay, so I got that click there. And then we have the loud music. I have some music, some piano here. And I'm just going to put that in when the music starts. So I'm going to hit I for the in point. I don't know how long it's going to go. I'm just going to drag it in there and put it on a different track so there can maybe possibly be some overlap or some moving of things around. I can always adjust the beginning of a clip just by going to the beginning of it and dragging. Okay, so now maybe I want to drag it over here so it begins a little early. I put it on a track 3. I'm going to move it up to track 2. And once again, draw this line down just to adjust the volume of it right down here on the timeline. And so that's how you can layer audio tracks, putting them on different layers. Like maybe I might want to keep all the dialogue on one track, all the sound effects on another track, all the music on another track. That's kind of a good way to edit. So maybe I'll put this music on track 3, the sound effect on track 2, and then continue that. Now, often at the beginning or end of an audio clip, there's like a little pop. So one thing you can do is if you go to the preferences of your Adobe Premiere and look for General, by clicking on Timeline, the Timeline Preferences. One thing I always do is I put a default audio transition that's very short, just 4 frames long, and you can do that by going into the Preferences, clicking on Timeline, putting that audio transition to 4. When you OK that, what I'm going to do is go Control A on the PC or Command A on the Mac to select everything, and then Control Shift D, and what that does is put that default transition on every clip. So notice that I have a little quick fade up on my audio on every track, and what that does is it gets rid of that kind of pop that you sometimes get at the beginning of an audio clip. Another thing you might want to do is fade up and down a clip in the middle of it. To do that, I use the pen tool. And when you have, I'm just going to click outside to deselect everything, use the pen tool. And when you have this line, which you've gotten by making the track big enough, you can put the pen tool on it. And what you want to do is make 2 points just by clicking on it. And then the second point, I'm going to fade this down at this point. So I'm just going to kind of drag it down a little bit on the point. To do a complete fade down, like a nice slow fade, I just put one at the end and then drag it down. So by putting in some, with the pen tool, some points, I can set keyframes to fade my audio up and down in different places. Okay, so those are just some audio things you might, I'm just going to go Command C or Control C to save my work. Just a few audio things you might want to consider in Adobe Premiere as you edit together your final animated film.